In this short video, we're going to be painting some eggs. Now, you might be wondering, why paint eggs? Well, it just so happens that this is a great exercise in using brushwork and handling our tones and colors to create a three-dimensional form. Roll that intro. Welcome to the studio. My name's Andrew. It is a pleasure to have your company here. And if you're new here, this is the place where we talk about all things to do with oil painting, whether it's still life, landscape, seascape, or portraits. So if that sounds like you, consider subscribing. Now in this video, as I mentioned, we're going to be painting some eggs, and we're working from direct observation. No photographs, no reference, just painting what we see in front of us. Now, the lessons that we learn here in these little exercises that I want to share with you in the next few videos that are coming your way, these things that we're learning here can be applied to any portrait, any landscape, any other painting, you name it. These simple techniques will apply because we really only have the same handful of considerations that we're thinking about when we're painting. So I want to talk to you about this here in this video, share with you the materials, and basically walk you through my process. Now here's my setup. It's pretty simple. I've decided to paint 3 eggs. I've got this really cool looking ostrich egg. I'm just painting a standard chicken egg. And then I found this little sparrow's egg on the sidewalk, and it's been hanging around in the studio for years. And I thought, finally, time to put it in a painting. And I really love the size difference between each of these individual eggs. But there's something else that's really cool here. See, I've chosen a light angle that's high and to the left, so it's shining down into that scene almost 3/4, creating some interesting shadows. But there's something else going on here, which is really cool reflected light. So this will be really helpful in communicating three-dimensionality. Now I'm going to talk to you here throughout the entire process, from those initial brush strokes through to those final details, and also discuss the materials along the way. Without further ado, let's get painting. My palette here is pretty simple. I've got burnt umber, yellow ochre, a mixture of white here. This is Cremnitz white and titanium white at 50-50. We have permanent crimson and ultramarine blue. That's it. A pretty simple palette indeed, but this should be able to give me everything that I need to mix all the colors that I'm seeing in those eggs. Now I'm going to start off with a synthetic pointed round, mix up a color here, a combination of burnt umber and that permanent crimson, and begin to sketch out where my eggs are going to go. Now I'm trying to work out what is the height to width ratio here for these eggs. I'm really just winging this, going totally by hand, just working out where those outlines are going to go, and I'm focusing on the relationships between these different forms. And that's key. You see here I'm gauging just by eye the distance of that sparrow's egg to the main ostrich egg there, and the proportion or the amount of that chicken egg that's overlapping the ostrich egg, and how each size compares to the next. It's actually quite tricky. Even though these are really simple forms, it's quite tricky to get that just right. And I'm not saying I've nailed it here, but I was pretty happy at this point. And so I go ahead and knock in some darker tones, and this is a combination of that same colors that I was explaining before, burnt umber and permanent crimson. A little bit of medium mixed in there. I've got some Liquin original. And I'm knocking in these tones to create that almost like a note to myself. Where are my lightest lights going to go? Where are those darkest darks going to go? And then I begin to lay in some of that color. Now for some of these still lifes, I found that it's a little bit easier for me to paint the backgrounds first and provide some sense of context for the main subject before painting the subject itself. I also really do enjoy the quality that this gives to the edges. I like to create lost edges here and there, just blend ever so slightly across where the egg, that line that notes the periphery of that egg, where that meets that background, and just brush across this just to push that paint down, create a nice soft effect. And then I can also be quite selective with this and create sharpness where necessary. I'm going to start off with this chicken egg here, and I'm using a pretty big brush for the job, but this actually makes it quite a bit easier for blending between strokes. I'm kind of following the contours of that three-dimensional form and focusing on the major shadow color as well as the mid-tone of the highlight, but I'm not worried about my darkest dark or my lightest light in the initial stages. Now, as you can see from my palette, you can mix a wide range of colors with only the few tubes of paint that I have out. I then move across to the main ostrich egg and try to work out exactly what am I seeing there in those shadow portions. I work this as an edge moving slowly towards that lighter portion, and again using these bigger brushes blending between those strokes to create some softness. It was actually a huge challenge here trying to create that smooth blended technique from these shadow colors to the lighter lights, catching the light here shining on this main ostrich egg. Now, one thing that I found has really helped me paint this in particular is that white combination titanium Cremnitz 50/50. Titanium white is pretty opaque. It's a really intense white to use, and you don't get any of that delicacy and that tinting quality of things like a lead white, a slightly more transparent white. You know, the titanium is just so overpowering. It can make your mixes quite chalky. Now, as you can see, I'm working those edges, bringing zone to zone, edge to edge, and by bringing two edges together, you can create some sharpness, but I'm not using any detail brushes yet. I might do later on when I come to glaze this painting. But for now, I can actually get quite a lot of information down with some pretty big brushes. I mean, look at the size of that brush compared to the size of that tiny little egg. And as you can see, I'm just flicking the surface with the ends of this filbert bristle brush. Now, one thing that has helped me create three-dimensionality within this painting is keeping everything really simple and general in those initial stages, using these bigger brushes, but then slowly but surely just working up towards those brighter brights steadily and those darker darks. Here I noticed in my reference that there's a much darker shadow here, that boundary between this mid-tone to highlight on the lit portion of the chicken egg and the reflected light along the back side of the egg. So I add a little bit of darkness here and then work my way up towards a brighter tone right where that light is striking. But still, it does appear quite flat because I haven't added that highlight yet. That's coming. My shadows are pretty thin. In fact, I'm removing a bit of that paint to reveal some of that underlying surface color of the linen panel. And I'd done an initial tonal wash of burnt umber and burnt sienna, a mix of those two, and then rubbed this back thoroughly to leave a nice warm tone. And that's helping this painting overall warm up those colors. Now, generally, this painting I'm finding is a bit warmer than what I'm seeing in the actual arrangement. This is just an aesthetic choice. I prefer the warmer quality. Now, using a long, flat, synthetic brush here, I begin to brush in some of that highlight color and soften and blend around the edges, and then come back with much thicker white paint and apply that highlight just where it needs to be on the front surface of that chicken egg. And suddenly, it starts to appear much more three-dimensional. I'll apply this technique to the other eggs. But first, I need to check these edges of where the boundary of that shadow starts to meet some of that mid-tone and just blend across. Now, because I'm using Liquin Original to aid the drying time of this painting, and again, I'm using never more than 1 part medium to 3 parts paint, it is going to set up and dry after about 12 hours, and it will be pretty much complete surface dry in 24 hours. Of course, I'll have to wait much longer to varnish the painting, but this doesn't allow me very much working time. So I want to create as much of a finished painting as I can in one sitting. That was the purpose of this exercise. even though afterwards, after this is completely dry, I do want to play with some glazes, but I want to get as close as possible here in this sitting first. Now, one thing I did struggle with, admittedly, on this big ostrich egg is that even transition, that gradation of tones from the brightest highlight all the way towards that shadow. You might notice here, there's a slight shadow just between the highlight and the deepest tone towards the backside of that egg. And that makes the surface of the egg almost feel slightly depressed at that point, because then it kicks up again and lifts in tone right before it meets that darkest dark. So this is something I might need to go back and correct later, but I can do that with a glaze. I will be able to do some good addressing this tonal issue by working very gently across the surface, but keeping plenty of paint loaded on the end of the brush and continually reloading that brush. The trouble is, while this surface is still wet, as you continue to brush that surface, you start to lift more and more paint. So getting the right stiffness in that bristle, so using the right tool for the job, but the right quality of mix as well is crucial, so you don't lift all that paint that you've just applied to the surface and reveal more of that raw linen panel. And finally, I just go about the painting adjusting my edges, just checking the boundaries of where eggs meet, and then going about painting some of that reflected light. I must admit, the reflected light is one of my favorite parts of this arrangement. And finally, the brightest tone that I'm seeing in this painting is that brilliant highlight right on the surface of that ostrich egg. I apply this in a very broken fashion to communicate some of the dimples in the surface. Now, you might notice that I haven't actually painted those divots and pock marks in the surface of the ostrich egg. I could do this at a later point, and maybe I could have spent the time to try to do it in this study, but really what I wanted to do here and achieve with this painting, whilst creating something loose and painterly, was to just get the overall arrangement, colors, and the form down first. Maybe later I will go back and paint that interesting surface, and this can always be done afterwards with a glaze. This painting was a real challenge, but so much fun. I actually learned a whole bunch, and it caused me to just slow down and really focus on the type of brush that I was using, controlling those mixes, and then working on the application of that paint. So if you haven't painted an egg yet, I highly recommend it. You'll learn loads working from direct observation.
You know, I really enjoyed creating this painting. It was a lot of fun, and I did actually learn quite a bit along the way. And it's amazing how when you're working from direct observation, just the details and the things that you see, you kind of go, I didn't think it would look that way, but how cool. And again, as I was saying before, it's the lessons that we're learning here, just working really simply, that changes our thought process and gives us a little bit more to think about when we go to paint a landscape or a portrait or any other painting that you can think of. It's really vital to hone those observation skills. Now, I took this painting and I actually added another step. I decided to go over the top with some thin glazes and just push that three-dimensionality a little bit more. Now, I did this post after I'd already taken apart the still life and taken away the setup, and I was actually referring to some photographic reference when I applied these glazes. Now, in a future video, I'm going to talk to you more about glazing because I'm getting a ton of questions on that topic in particular. So stay tuned. That video is coming out very soon. Now, I've been painting loads of these simple still life paintings and I've been having loads of fun here in the studio. I can't wait to share more of this journey with you. And also, these demos are going to be part of my oil painting essentials course, all to do with simple still life. So I can't wait to share that with you. Check that description down below for release details. That's coming out very soon. Now, you might be wondering where I've been for the last few months, why I haven't uploaded a video here on YouTube. I've actually been super busy here in the background with commission work, putting together this oil paintings essentials course, but I'm also a dad now, so that's taken up a bunch of time, which has been awesome. But it just hasn't left time for regular YouTube videos. So if I've kept you waiting, I'm really sorry, but I do appreciate your patience. And I hope to upload more videos here in the near future. In fact, I've got a little bit of a backlog, so hopefully I can release these at more of a regular cadence from here on out. But thanks again for sticking with me, and I do appreciate your patience. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell so you're notified when I upload another video. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate your company, and I'll see you again in the next video.